Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around this beautiful, beautiful world. Today, live is all about your TEDx journey. What to do, what to expect, when to do it, when you should do some kind of actions, and how long is going to take each of those steps. Literally, today, I'm going to walk you step by step through the whole TEDx journey because most of the time people ask me, okay, what I should do, how long it's going to take me. So they can embed it in their business plan. They can embed it in everything what they do. Today talk is exactly about it. So get ready, take a lot of screenshots or watch it on replay. Put the hashtag live if you're watching it on a live right now, or put the hashtag replay if you're watching it on replay. And again, feel free to take as many screenshots as you want. Put all your questions in the comments below because we are starting right now. I'm gonna add my slides. I did prepare slides, very unusual. I don't usually do the lives with slides, but I'm gonna switch to comments very quickly. And I'm going to turn off the banner because I realized that when the banner is on, not all the slides are actually visible. Here we go. What to do, what to expect, how long it's going to take for your TEDx journey. Put a thumbs up if you're ready. And also tell me where you're watching it from. Let's start. Your TEDx journey, what, when, how long? Again, if you have any kind of questions, put them in the comments. I will make sure that I answer all the questions right after each of the modules, what I'm about to tell you, and explain each of those modules. I created soon to be a TEDx speaker program, and exactly what is that program is about, step by step, to take you through the whole TEDx journey. By the way, the TEDx journey does not finish when you deliver your TEDx talk on stage. No. And that's exactly what I'm going to explain, when exactly your TEDx journey is roughly finished. Okay. Take a screenshots again, as many as you want. This is the soon to be a TEDx speaker formula, and it has 4 modules: mobilize, make, master, and magnify. I'm going to go through each of those modules right now. The first module, mobilize, out of 4, is the red carpet frame activated. It has 4 steps. So for you, what you need to know is how you start your TEDx journey. This is exactly the mobilize. That's why I call it mobilize module. During the mobilize step, what you need to do, the first thing is to decide what is going to be your topic. Obviously, you have rough ideas in your head what exactly is going to be topic, but when you start your TEDx journey, the first thing what you need to actually answer is the question, what is it there for me? From the audience perspective, you have to actually put in your head to answer the question for the audience. What is it there for the audience? Because every time when someone is watching you, they're always asking subconsciously themselves, what is it there for me? Why should I watch this TEDx? Why should I watch this video? So when you start your TEDx journey, you start exactly with that question to answer to your audience, what is it there for me? Then the second thing, what you need to do is to actually decide what kind of takeaway your audience is going to have by watching your TEDx. What is it there for me is not just a question. You need to decide the takeaway for them, what you're giving, what is the wisdom, what is the idea sharing, but what exactly is the wisdom sharing with your audience. Then the next step in your TEDx journey is actually to decide what is your TEDx goal. Some people want to have X amount of views for their TEDx. Some people want to have X amount of clients out of their TEDx talk. Some people, they just want to share their wisdom, and it doesn't matter how many people watch their TEDx. So you have to be very clear, what is the tangible TEDx goal, what you want, what is the outcome, the end result of the TEDx? Because otherwise, think about it, you're going to do the whole TEDx, and at the end, you're going to feel happy, but you're not going to feel fulfilled. And this is 2 different things. Being happy and being fulfilled. Because when you know what end result you are actually aiming for, this is what you gain, and then you feel fulfilled completely. Then the moment when you know your TEDx goal, you need to align the TEDx goal with all your business goals. Obviously, all needs to align with your life, with everything what's going on right now. So make sure you do this step, because it's super, super, super important. They all have to be aligned. If you right now writing a book, or you just publish a book, or you published books last year or several years ago, you might want to align a business goal around your book with a business goal around your TEDx, so those two can be aligned together and put together. So think about not just what you want from your TEDx, but also what you want from everything else, and how the TEDx goes within everything what you're doing in your life, in your business right now. Then the second step in the module Mobilize is target. You have to decide three things here. The first one is, who is actually your audience, your target audience. It's very important, because after this, when you use your language, you have to speak to that audience. It's a huge difference if you're talking to scientists or you're talking to business people. If you take business people, what kind of business people you're talking to? So you have to be super clear who is in the audience, because that depends after this through the language, what you're going to use during your TEDx talk. The second thing in the step 2 target in module 1, mobilize, is timing. So according TEDx rules, you can only have maximum 18 minutes, 18 minutes for your TEDx talk. However, you might decide to have less than 18 minutes. So you have to decide on that step, you have to decide how long is going to be your TEDx. The third thing is to decide from your TEDx journey is TEDx organizers. Obviously, you have to decide which TEDx organizers you like, which TEDx event is going to be really aligned with what you do. Because it's one thing to be a woman and going on TEDx Women. It's another thing to be a man going on TEDx Women. Has not, like, your audience are not women, then therefore you're going to be rejected. So it's very, very important to decide the TEDx organizer, and then to start the whole application process. It is part of your TEDx journey, obviously. Many people believe that TEDx is only invitation on the event. No, it's not. It's actually application process. It is possible to be invited on TEDx, but actually majority of the people, and my mic is about to sleep, but a majority of the people are gonna be actually applying for TEDx. I do apologize. I should have think about this, but think about not just to find the TEDx organizer, but actually to start your application process. Great. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'm going to answer each of the questions right after each of the modules. We have 4 modules right now to cover. Tell is the next step in the mobilize module. And in the tell, you have to decide what are the best stories which can represent your idea. They can represent your wisdom. They can represent what you're sharing on TEDx. So you have to decide on the best stories. And after this, you have to decide how many stories you want to put. So I'm going to cover this later on, but on a very high level, you need to decide how many stories. The reason why is because when you start your application process, one of the first questions what the TEDx organizer are going to ask you is, what is your topic, which is the first step. Then who is your audience, and then they're going to ask you how many stories you're going to share, roughly what you're going to share. That's why the step number 3 here is tell, meaning stories, how many and what stories you're going to share. Last step in module 1 mobilize is, of course, title, because this is the next thing what TEDx organizers are going to ask you, and this is the name of your TEDx talk, which is your title. Now, I constantly repeat that the most important thing to embed in your title is actually social media hacks, because at the end of the day, what's the point of doing a TEDx if no one ever can find that TEDx talk on YouTube or any of the platforms. This is just kind of doing half of the job. And I want to show you very quickly few statistics, figures on the TEDx title. So majority of the TEDx talks get most of their views in the first 1 week, and then literally everything dies away, which is very, very sad. But let me explain it in figures. In 2021, the statistics, what I took from the TEDx Talk YouTube channel are like this. Only 23% of all the TEDx Talk have more than 1,000 views on YouTube. So majority about 1.2, 1.5 thousand views. And this is really, really shocking percentage. However, even more shocking is that only 1.97% have more than 10,000 views. So 10,000 views means that this TEDx talk is now popular, right? So only 1.97% of the TEDx talk become popular. And only 0.02% get more than 1 million views. 1 million views means viral. So 0.01% is so low. The reason why of all the statistics is because of the TEDx title. TEDx title is what attract, what grab the attention and make the people to come and watch your TEDx talk. If your TEDx talk is rubbish, then you're gonna get within any of those percentages. Sadly, I'm sorry to say that, but you have to know it so you can avoid this mistake. And I'm gonna put all this in a completely different perspective. It automatically means that 75% of all the TEDx talks are around, sadly, 120 to 320 views mark, which basically means that the people doing a TEDx talk, they share it with family members, they share it with friends and with colleagues, and that's it. No one else can find that TEDx talk because the title is crap. Okay, don't do that mistake. The 75% also basically means that the people achieve their TEDx goal halfway because they became a TEDx speaker. No one can take away this title and visibility and positioning. However, the other half, which is the world to know about your wisdom, was not accomplished. You couldn't do the second part of your TEDx talk, and this is so sad. It also means that the 75% of all the TEDx speakers are missing 3 major things, and I want to cover them today in the Today Live. The number one is a very powerful title that attracts people to watch the TEDx talk, which is that step number 4 from the first step of your TEDx journey, mobilizing. Mobilizing yourself also means that you have to grab attention straight away. The way how you grab attention is through your TEDx title. The number 2 missing for those 75% of majority of the TEDx speakers is embedding YouTube hacks in your TEDx talk. I'm going to talk about this right in a minute in module 2 make. And the third step is a very effective social media strategy and a very effective action plan, which is the module 4 magnify. I'm going to speak about this right in a minute. Let me just quickly, I'm going to swap to my comments. Lots of love. Thank you so much, Gemma. Thank you for watching it today on Friday. Happy Friday, Gemma, and happy Friday, everyone. Okay, if you have any comments and any questions so far from module 1, from the soon to be a TEDx speaker formula, from the your TEDx journey, just put them in the comments below, and I will answer them as soon as we finish module 2. So module 2 is all about making. So make is your second step of your TEDx journey. The Phoenix explosion formula is what I created a second step, and let me teach you very quickly what this means. It means that the first thing what you need to start from your second step is creating a very memorable content which have a great structure. I'm going to show you few mistakes what people do around content, but structure is one of them. Then you have to decide which stories to include or exclude. From module 1, mobilize, I said that one of the steps is tell, and you have to decide what are the best stories to put in your wisdom TEDx talk. Right now, what you're deciding in that step make is actually which stories to exclude, because we start excluding stories, which stories to include, because it's so important to actually leave only the stories which are highly explaining your wisdom, explaining your idea, but also making it as a proof that what you're saying works, what you're saying it is true, what you're saying is actually someone or you already experiencing. This is very relatable actually stories as part of your content. And the last very must to do is to actually embed social media hacks in your content, because it's so important. The title, what we said during the mobilize, is grabbing the attention of the people. Now, putting social media hacks in the content is what is keeping that attention, and people are gonna not just watch 3 seconds of a video or 1 minute. They're gonna watch your whole talk, because it's not just grabbing, but it's like explaining exactly what they're going through right now. It's giving them the answers of their questions, is giving them the answer of their problems, the solution of their problem right now, what they're doing. So that's why by embedding social media hacks, that content, the content makes it visible to the, I'm going to try to not be that digital. So the moment when you start putting social media hacks in the content of your TEDx talk, the artificial intelligence engine is picking up the words of your content, and then it's showing it to as many people as possible who are relating, who are interested in these keywords, in this kind of topic you are covering in your TEDx talk. The second step here in the module make, in your step make, is crucial. It is so crucial to actually make it very memorable. I talk about this throughout the post on LinkedIn. If you don't follow me on LinkedIn, please go and follow me and put actually contact me straight away, because I do prefer people to contact me and have them as a contact. So when you have questions, you can directly message me instead of using your emails. Anyway, what is so important is to make it very memorable throughout key phrases. So pick a key phrase, put it in your TEDx talk, and then use that as a memorable key phrase. Now, crack is to open with a crack. Opening sentence is so super important. Again, plug here more social media hacks, because it's so important. When you open your TEDx talk, when you stand on stage and you start delivering, the first thing what you're saying is so critical, so important. Is the one which is now grabbing the attention for the people to forget what they're doing. Because think about this for a moment. When you're on stage, you've got audience in front of you, and they've been listening to different TEDx speakers. And right now you want them to be fully present for you. You want them to be there for you. You want them to forget everything else and then think only about the topic what you're going to present to them. That's why the opening sentence is so cracking important. But then I want you to think about different perspective. When later on your TEDx talk is on YouTube, right? You have to make people to forget their daily life. They have to forget what they're doing. And when you open with the opening sentence of your TEDx talk, you want them to forget everything else, to be fully present for you there, to grab their attention, and to actually start listening, not just like still thinking about something else. You want to really isolate their way of thinking and be fully there watching your TEDx talk. Close is actually your closing sentence. So during the making step, during the making process of your TEDx talk, it's so important to have a really good closing sentence. I'm going to give you again a mistake what people do right now. And again, put a lot of social media hacks in your closing sentence, because it's so important. This artificial intelligence engine to pick from, not just from the beginning of your talk, from the during the content, during the talk itself, but also the closing sentence needs to be really, really good. Now, here is the biggest 5 mistakes what people do when they prepare and they make their TEDx talk. Big mistake number 1 is that people create a TEDx talk which does not have any structure. Gosh, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's so important your TEDx talk to have a structure. There's so many people out there, they stand on stage, they start telling different stories, but whoever is listening, they enjoy it. You make them feel really emotional, so you're touched with them through their emotions. But actually, if your TEDx talk does not have structure, you lost the game, because people are not going to remember after this anything from your talk. They might remember the story, but if there is no structure in your TEDx talk, then you're not making a memorable TEDx talk. And that is the truth. So don't do that mistake. Please take screenshots again. Don't do mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, people don't use key phrases or takeaway wisdoms, what they call them, in their TEDx talk. So what makes one TEDx talk really memorable is actually through key phrases or takeaway wisdoms. What I started with, if you remember, more in step 1, I said, what is it there for me? That's exactly what people ask themselves when they start watching something. Me, everyone is asking this question. If there is no a takeaway wisdom, then you're living that talk, you're living that video, and it's like, yeah, it was really good. And then if someone is asking you, what do you remember from this talk, you'll be like, it's about this, it's about that. But if you have a takeaway wisdom, people are gonna quote your takeaway wisdom. By the way, by having a takeaway wisdom, this automatically means that when journalists or podcast people, or anyone who is really having a lot of guests on their show, on TV show, on podcast, or they're writing articles and they're looking for the next inspiration, if you have a takeaway wisdom, they're gonna literally quote. This will be the first thing what they're gonna quote in the article, when they invite you on the TV show, when they invite you on the podcast. That is what they're going to quote straight away, most probably. And I bet on this, I absolutely bet on this, they're not going to quote your title of your TEDx talk, but they're going to quote your TEDx wisdom. Here's how the two of them works. Title is there to grab attention for people to actually come and watch your video. Takeaway wisdom is so people can quote you after they finish watching your TEDx talk, because this is the most memorable thing for them. Short, snappy, very memorable sentence, which is takeaway. This is how titles and takeaway work together, because they're not going to come to watch it if you don't have a very good title. They're not going to remember anything if you don't have a memorable takeaway wisdom. I do hope that this makes sense. Put a yes if it makes sense. Put a no if it doesn't make sense, so I can explain in more details those two. Big mistake number 3. So put a yes or a no. It's not just asking me asking questions, just so I can see who is watching and if it makes sense. Otherwise, it's kind of like me talking to myself only. Big mistake number 3 is that people use loads of steps. They use loads of bullet points and numbering, and this is making it really, I would say, overwhelming. So TEDx talk is not a business presentation. I want you to remember this, that it's a huge difference between TEDx talk and the usual business presentation, what we do. We usually use a lot of slides on business presentations. We use text on presentations. I'm using right now slides and presentations. So because I want you to take screenshots, snaps from what I'm talking. So when you're starting and going through your TEDx journey, you know step by step what you're doing. So don't do that mistake. Don't think that when you go on TEDx and if you say, my formula has 5 steps or 7 steps, and this is the 7 steps to make someone to date you, or 7 steps for being an amazing leader. I have to tell you that there is something which is called the power of 3. People can remember all the way up to 3. Here is one thing I want to teach you, just to explain. If you have a formula which indeed has 7 steps, or anything above 3 steps, you can say that you created, I don't know, like I'm going to give an example. If I need to go on, which I'm not going to do, but if I need to go on a TEDx stage or any kind of stage, and I say I have 4 modules in the soon to be a TEDx speaker formula, I'm going to explain 3 of them because it's the power of 3. More than 3 is really overwhelming. So the 4th one is going to be missing. But if people are interested, they're going to come to you, or they're going to come to me for the soon to be a TEDx speaker formula. And they're going to come to you to understand the step number 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. If your teaching has 7 modules, explain the first 3 and tell them, come to me to know the other 4. So it's that simple, but don't go more than 3. I personally would highly, highly recommend you to not use any kind of steps, any kind of bullet points, any kind of numbering, because it is overwhelming. For 18 minutes talk, this is overwhelming, completely overwhelming. So don't do mistake number 3. Now, mistake number 4 is that people tell hell a lot of stories, and this is also overwhelming. Again, it will be super overwhelming for your audience because they're going to jump from one story to another story to another story to another story. 18 minutes is quite short time. So be very, very selective what stories you're including in your content, and be very selective how many of them. Again, the power of 3. If you want to put a lot of stories, then just put the maximum 3, because with 3 stories, 18 minutes is more than enough, and it's not gonna get that rush for you to remember all of them, but it's not gonna have the other way around of people watching you and be like, oh my God, this was amazing, this was amazing, this was amazing. And then at the end it's like, whoa, my head is spinning, that was way too much, right? So don't do mistake number 4. Here is the last mistake what I want to teach you today, and please don't do this mistake as well. People start strong and they forget to finish with a bang. So I've seen, like, I have to say 90% of the TEDx speakers, and like open any TEDx talk, you're going to see it as well. The end of the TEDx talk is supposed to be a short, snappy sentence. What people do is like they're going on and on and on and on. It's like, oh my God, I thought this is the end of that talk, right? So don't do that mistake, please. Start strong, finish with a bang, because this is so important for people to remember you. Again, the way how you finish with the bang is short and snappy sentence. There is no rocket science here. Short and snappy sentence, that's it. Now, before I go to module 3, let me just quickly check any questions. Okay, so I don't see any questions. I might not see. I had issues with StreamYard, I have to say. So make sure you do put the questions. And if I don't see them, if I don't answer your questions right during the live, I will make sure that I will come back offline. I will answer all of them. So I'm going to go back to my module number 3, which is your step number 3 of your TEDx journey. Step number 3 of your TEDx journey is called master, because you're going to master the stage. I call it the stress-free talk delivering solution. It has 4 steps to go through. The first one is timing. You need to know yourself. You need to know how you're going to keep your timing. You have to practice. I constantly repeat, like, practice, practice, practice. Practice not until, this is a quote, and I don't know who said it because I couldn't find it on LinkedIn, but I love that quote. Practice not until you can't make a mistake. No, practice not until you know it. Practice until you can't make a mistake. practice not until you know it, practice until you cannot make mistake. This is a huge, like, bang on advice what I can give you on keeping your timing. Articulation is all about body language. When you're practicing, when you're mastering before you get on stage, you have to really just record yourself and watch your body language, because once you're on stage, there is no take two. You can't just go and say, oh, I made a mistake, I need to reverse it. There will be editing later on, but don't go that far. Just practicing full body language, and then rewatch yourself just to see what kind of body language you've been using. The third step, what you need to go through when you're mastering your TEDx, is your language. So there are two things here. To put natural pose, it sounds so natural. That's why they're called natural poses. But actually, when you practice, you have to practice with the pose. Basically, automatically means that when you have your TEDx talk and you practice with the pose, because that's how you know that you're going to be within the 18 minutes length. Don't forget that if you go above 18 minutes, automatically the headquarter from TED headquarter will have the right to reject your TEDx talk to be published on YouTube. Then you're going to be a TEDx speaker without published TEDx talk, and this is something I don't want you to experience. The second thing what you want to do here is basically to know the TEDx rules, what is allowed and what is not allowed to say on stage. This is the language what you're using. They're very specific, and the reason why is because, think about this, TEDx is #1 most trusted channel on YouTube, is #1 most highly respected stage in the world. Because of this, they have the full right to have the rules what they have. The rules are draconian rules, but at the moment when you know them, go and read them on TED.com. Then you're going to see the rules on the left-hand side. You're going to see what is allowed, what's not allowed to say on TEDx. That is so, so important. So this is part of your TEDx journey. It's super, super, super critical. The last thing in the master step is knocking it out. Don't knock it up, knock it out. Because what you're going to put here is, I teach a lot of practicing hacks. I just gave you one of the practicing hacks to record yourself and then watch the body language. But there are more hacks here. When you practice, keep practicing until you cannot make a mistake. This is the truth. Also, what I included here in the soon to be a TEDx speaker formula are actually 14 questions for your TEDx organizer. Now, I'm not going to list them here, but if you go on my LinkedIn profile, scroll down on my wall, you're going to see different posts for the different questions. I literally took each of those questions and posted them in different, it was like a sequence, a really long sequence. But the reason why I want you to go and know those questions is because each of those questions, by asking them, by asking your TEDx organizer, they're going to prepare you to be brilliant on the TEDx stage. I'm going to give you one of them. One of them is the most common mistakes, what I can't just believe. Most probably 50% of the TEDx speakers are doing this. You need to know what is the color of the background stage. Because if you're wearing the same color, by the way, I'm at my parents' living room. I'm with my parents for a week. So this dull, ugly wall is brown, basically. If I'm wearing something totally brown, which is my chair is kind of blending with a low wall behind, right? So if I'm wearing something which is blending with the colors, literally on YouTube after this, you're gonna be like walking head and hands around. You want to stand out. And if you want to stand out, then you have to visually, with your colors of the clothes, you have to visually stand out. I'm just giving you one of 14 questions to ask your TEDx organizers. They're so important. Every one of them is going to make you to be prepared for the day, but also to stand out. In this case, what I gave you as example is standing out visually. Okay, we're running out of time. I know that it's more than 30 minutes today, but I want to finish with module 4, which is magnify. I love this step. I absolutely love that. Every TEDx journey starts, and then the end is magnifying your TEDx talk. But this is my favorite one. The reason why is because I put a lot of social media hacks on the diffuse of your TEDx talk, on the magnifying and diffusing your TEDx talk. So there are 3 strategies here. I don't know why I put the SS at the end, so do apologize. Social media strategies, social selling strategies, and social series strategies. Social series strategies is literally hands off. Everything happens. It's automations, basically. That's why it's serious, because you do series of automations. Hands after this, the only thing what you do is just to view, just to watch how the views on your TEDx talk are going up and up and up. That's exactly what I'm doing with my own TEDx talk. I always test something before I give it to all of you. So trust me, every single hack and tip what I'm giving you right now and mistakes, I already seen it. I tested it personally. So I know how that gives us impact. Action plan is something what you have to have during your TEDx journey. So now action plan is this, specifically for TEDx is this. You need to have an action plan the days before your TEDx day, on the TEDx day, the day after your TEDx day, so the day after you deliver your TEDx talk, then the time between your TEDx day and the time when it's published on YouTube, then the first 48 hours and the first week of your TEDx. Now, pretty much within that time frame, the first week of your TEDx has been published on YouTube. This is pretty much when your TEDx journey is finishing. It is not finishing when you deliver your TEDx talk. This is how I start that live today. Your TEDx journey doesn't finish on your TEDx day. It finished the week after your TEDx has been published on YouTube. I want you to remember this. So critically important. Now, I promise to give you how long it's going to take. So it takes about a month to apply successfully and have a spot, a date for your TEDx. Then it's going to take you about 2 months till your TEDx day to prepare. So 2 months to prepare your TEDx. Then the TEDx, between the TEDx day and when it's published on YouTube, this is about 1 month, because the TEDx organizers team, they need to edit the video. It's professionally taken, it's professionally edited. They might have to embed something what you're asking them to embed during the video, but they need to put every TEDx video has like advertising before the video starts and after the video starts. So these are editing what is happening in that 1 month time. And then in a month time, your TEDx organizers are going to upload that on YouTube channel. But what happens is that they did their job. The TEDx organizers did their job. It is the headquarter to actually get on each of those videos. They are watching all the videos. And you have 2 options: to be either approved and to be published now on YouTube, or to not be approved and not be published on YouTube. This is how important the whole journey is. So within that 1 month, your action plan is to have the full preparation. The moment when it's published on YouTube, you have to really burst all the views, because the first 48 hours are so critically important. Now, I want you to take all this journal. I don't count usually how long is the journey, because it varies. I have people who have been applying for 2 years. They came to me. One of them was from Canada. He came to me and he said, I've been applying for 2 years. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I did review the application and I tweaked it very quickly with him. Boom, in 2 weeks, he was already approved for TEDx. So this is how, like, if it's taking you more than 1 month, feel free to contact me. I'm going to review your application process. I'm going to give you more hacks on what to do and what not to do, so you can basically shrink that time to get a TEDx date. But the reason why I'm giving you that it's 1 month between the TEDx day has been done and you're already been on TEDx stage and published on YouTube is because some of you needs to align the whole time frame with your business plan. So replay again, hear all the timing and do it properly. Do align the TEDx journey, the TEDx plan with every single plan what you've got, like personal life plan, business plan, everything else, because time wise they have to be aligned completely. The very last thing, please, 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 you need to know what social media hacks you can embed in your action plan. So the moment when it's published on YouTube, all these diffuse big time on all the social media platforms. Hell, there are so many things, so many platforms out there. So please, please, please do start embedding everything what you learned from me. Start your TEDx journey. Um, I will quickly go back to comments to see any kind of questions. Okay, I don't see questions. We've been 40 minutes live. I usually do it for 30 minutes, but it was so, so, so important to explain the whole TEDx journey step by step. But yes, if you know now what to expect from your TEDx journey and you feel a lot more prepared than before you start watching this video, put your questions in the comments so I can go and reply to each one of them. Put a hashtag replay if you're watching it on the replay. Thank you so much for being with me this Friday, and I'm going to see you next Friday. Have an amazing, amazing, lovely weekend ahead.